Welcome everybody once again to the pantry. This is Retro Bear calling in, remind you that I'm still alive and still here, just. Yes. Hope you're all well. It has been the proverbial while once again, but as we will find out during the course of this video, the reasons why. Anyway, I hope you're well. Welcome back if you are returning. If you're here for the first time, you come across this by accident, then yeah, nice. Thanks so much indeed for giving it a go, and good to see you here. Anyway, I hope you're all well. And yeah, it's been one of them times of year when there's stuff going on and various bits and pieces, which I'll get to as we sort of go through the video. The prime purpose of this video initially is to say a thank you to some more donations that have come in, which is always very gratefully received. Need that in here. That's another reason why I'm doing a video, which I'll talk about in a second as well. Bloody warm in here. Yes, so we've had some donations come in once again for the collection, which is fantastic. And these are connected with the repair that Mrs. Bear's been doing. So if you've been following the Retro Repair Bear on Instagram and the recent work she's been doing on an Amiga, this is sort of interconnected with that. And the Amiga was sent in by, I think it was a YouTuber by the name of Archive Oddball. Well, I've known for a few years in the old comments. I think he's one of these people who told me that he used to listen to my videos while emptying the dishwasher, and he used to listen to Desert Island Games when I did that, when he like 3 hours in the bath on a Saturday morning, because that's how long they were. Make you wonder, 3 hours in the bath. I mean, I've a long old bath. Well, not 3 hours anyway. Seems like 3 hours possibly. If you ask Mrs. Bear, it seems like 3 hours. But when the Amiga was sent in, there was a note, which I don't have to hand, unfortunately, and some games, which would be passed on to myself as a way of saying thank you for all the videos I've been doing over the last 5 and a bit years. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, digest 5 and a bit years, number of videos, number of watchings, number of yeah, you get the idea anyway. But no, I've always been very, very humbled by people when they say things like that. Thanks for doing this, and please accept this collection of games for your collection as a thank you. You know, I don't ask for this stuff to be sent through. It's great, you know. So a little bit of mixture of stuff. I will say there's some stuff I've got here already, but something that I haven't got before, and some really interesting items as well. So we'll get on with those first of all, rather than hold those through until the end. So yeah, very gratefully sent through these Archive Oddball. Great to be sent through these games. Now, the first one's an Amiga game, so obviously connected with the Amiga. And if you've seen Retro Import Gamer's recent pickups video, he's already talked about this, but I'll just go over some ground there. This was a gap up here somewhere. It's about there, I think. Now hang on, where are we? Fingers. In relation to move it that way, is the gap there. There we go. And what it is, this game he sent me here, it's a game that I played on the Amiga when I first had it. One of my favourite games on the Amiga. I haven't played it much since then, so I'll be interested to see how it holds up. But during lockdown, I got a copy of this in a bundle I bought, and when James, Retro Import Gamer, came round to pick his Spectrum up, which Mrs. Bear had repaired for him, he was talking about this game, and I said, "Oh, I've just been sent a copy of that." I said, "I can give you my spare one if you my copy if you want." So I very kindly gave James my copy I'd had, and this one is going to go into my collection because this is the original one, the original release, rather than the re-release version I had. No difference, it's the same game. But I've also noticed when I bought the Amiga 500 Mini, not the Amiga 500 Mini, because that technically is what it is it? It's an A500 Mini. I noticed on the USB stick, which I had a quick look on, I haven't played that yet, this game's on there, so this is really, really good. So, but the game I'm talking about in question is Micropose's Formula 1 Grand Prix by Jeff Crammond. Jeff Crammond, of course, many people will know, behind 80s 8-bit classic game Revs driving game, and then he did Stunt Car Racer as well at the end of the 80s, and this was his first, I think, foray into 16-bit racing. One of the great games of all time, no doubt about it. Probably the best Formula 1 game until the PlayStation 1 series of licensed Formula 1 games came out. definitely my favourite. Nice little slipcase cover on that one. Just to show you the insides very, very quickly. Hopefully this isn't... Does this open out? No, it just lifts off the front. I'll just show you the inside. And again, it's all been beautifully looked after. Look, we've got 4 discs in there. We've got the old warranty card. The giant manual in there as well. Really, really nice looked after. So, just really happy to have that in it. I mean, like I said, I had it already. I just had a different version, but this is the one I remember seeing advertised everywhere in magazines and what have you. Of course, back in the day, I didn't have the original. I had a backup of it. But it was just great as a Formula 1 game. You know, you can make it as serious as you wanted to. You can make it as a simulation with all the authentic driving aids, things turned on, off, etc. Or you could just turn them all off and just drive around like a lunatic, like I did. And it was great because you have you have like 24 other races. So, as I was at the time when I was playing that, you'd get all the preset driver names out of there, and you put all your mates in from school. That's what I used to do anyway. It's great, yeah. Running various people off the road. And seriously annoyed people by people that day. You'd go and play this game, get home and run them off the road. It's great. So yeah, so that's going to sit very nicely up there. So I've just dropped it in now, I think. It won't fit. Anyway, it won't fit up there anyway, so something else will go in there instead. I've got some other Amiga games in the other room I can stick in there, but yes. But great, so that was like, wow, thank you so much indeed for that. What we did, okay, let's do a book. There's a book in here as well, which is very, very good to have. And hopefully, might actually provide me some back ways of getting into some games. And this is 300 A to Z PlayStation cheats. Did that come with a magazine? I think it may have come with a magazine. TotalGames.net it's got on the back of that, I don't know. But I've had a flick through this, and you know, there are some games I've got in here, which is good. So, yes, there's all sorts of things in there. There's codes and cheats and things to go in that. They're always useful to have these things. I mean, I'm not sure, you know, I think we discussed this before previously, you know, how many of these do cheat codes exist nowadays? I don't know. Probably, I expect they do. But back when I first started playing games, having a cheat code book or going through magazines and trying to find cheat codes was the thing to do. PlayStation 3 is next. And again, you know, you're going to sit there, what's the point of that? But for me, this is the sort of game that I will actually happily sit down and play. And it's Trivial Pursuit, because people do know like me quiz games. It's all complete. It's a PlayStation 3 game. It should be complete. And there's absolutely nothing really to show you on the back. But yes, I do love my quiz games. So Trivial Pursuit is definitely something that I will sit down and play. When, I don't know, but you have me on record. I would sit down and play that. Most people wouldn't bother with it, but I would sit down and play that. Right, let's do that one last of all. Let's do these other three. So we've got some 8-bit stuff now. Because it's not a retro bear video, this is some 8-bit stuff, you know, real proper stuff. These two I actually have got, so I'll do these first. It's a shame I got these two, but because they're in nice condition. But here's what it is, you know. Chances are, if people do donate me things, there's a very, very good chance I'm going to have, especially on the 8-bit stuff, some of it. But yeah, anyway, so this one's based on an old TV series. This is Yes, Prime Minister, the computer game. This is based on a TV series way ahead of its time, like a political comedy based around a Conservative Prime Minister who was completely incompetent. Sounds quite common, doesn't it? Sounds quite normal. But yeah, it comes with a manual, and obviously it's got this old this red cover, which is very much the design of the ministerial boxes that the government ministers have. You may have seen that anyway. And it's like a text-based game, but it was brilliantly written back in the day as a comedy. I can't even remember who wrote the comedy programme. I'm sure somebody will tell me. But it follows the characters in the show. Sir Humphrey and Bernard, and obviously the Prime Minister himself, Jim Hacker. I'm not sure how well it's aged as a TV series. I'm not sure whether it's still relevant or not, but definitely way ahead of its time. And the computer game wasn't too bad either, so yeah, that wasn't there. I have got that one, unfortunately, but yeah, nice that one. Nice to have that. And the other one I've got as well, and I've got this in two versions. There's this one and there's another one knocking around, and I've got both of them. I think I've actually got this on the Spectrum, and it's based around, you know, we talk about a TV show. Again, during this time, it was very popular to make games out of popular TV quiz shows. So what we've got here is TV Special, which has 3 games on here. This has got Blockbusters, Krypton Factor, and Every Second Counts. There is another one called It's TV Showtime, which has also got these 3 games on, plus Bob's Full House and Bullseye. 3 games on here. Krypton Factor, for those of you who don't know what Krypton Factor was, it was a TV game show of sorts, but it wasn't a game show where you sit there and answer questions. There was a general knowledge aspect to it, but it also involved various abilities that you need to have, like mental ability, ability to work, puzzle solving ability, observation, and also an assault course, like an army assault course that they had to go through, like a physical activity. It's quite, you know, very much decent. Has been on the television for many years now. Blockbusters is probably the most famous one on here that most people recognise. Pop a picture of Bob Holness there. Used to host it. Quiz show, a team of 2 against a team of 1. One would have to go across the board. The other one would have to go vertically or horizontal. Yeah, one would go horizontally, one would go vertically, or up and down, left and right, depending on how you want to do it. And the board was made up of a number of hexagons or little square things with a letter on it, and behind every letter there was a question. So, for example, there's a B on there. He would say, "What B is the capital of somewhere beginning with B?" And that was what the answer would be. You know, it should have been something much easier than that. You know, what B is this video? And if you said boring, you'd have the right answer. And that would be, you know, you couldn't say terrible because that began with a T, not a B. And then the idea would just block the row out, and you get from one side to the other, top to bottom. I think it was best of 3, and then you went through to a prize round, which was slightly more complicated, where you actually had 2 or 3 letters making up the answer. So it's you know, we've run for years on television, very different sort of incarnations anyway. And probably the least memorable one on here is a game called Every Second Counts, which is hosted there by former TV magician and he was actually started out as a comedian, Paul Daniels. And he did 2 quiz shows, that one and Wipeout, both I thought they were quite good. It took me a while when I played this a few months back to remember what the rules were, but the idea was you had to answer questions to gain seconds to take through to the final round, and it sort of came back to me when I was playing it. But I mean, they are what they are. Krypton Factor isn't very good. Blockbusters is what it is, and Every Second Counts, once you work it out, is fairly, you know, average TV series, but they're all in them, all the tapes are complete. No instructions, sadly, but yeah, I mean, if you remember those game shows, perhaps it's going to be something, a little curiosity, but I don't think it's one that you're going to pull out as a lost classic. I wouldn't have thought so, any of those. So there we go. Next one as well, which is also a Commodore 64 game, last Commodore 64 game I'm going to show you. That was on the Commodore 64, by the way, and the one before it. I might not have mentioned that. This is based on a reasonably topical story-ish at the moment, I suppose, based around the origins of where this character came from. Maybe you'll know what I'm talking about when I say this is Ed the Duck, not Gordon the Gopher. Gordon the Gopher was first, Ed the Duck was the sequel. The old BBC children's broom cupboard. Can't remember. Was Ed the Duck with Andy Crane, wasn't he, or Simon Parkin? I can't remember. Anyway, Ed the Duck was a little puppet who was quite popular in sort of linking television programmes together for children years and years ago when that thing was a thing. And the BBC Enterprises licensed a platform game which wasn't very good, from what I remember anyway. I think it was trying to be sort of a Rainbow Islands-ish platformer. I don't know. Anyway, wasn't very good. It does come complete with a manual on the tape, and it's going to come with the tape, hasn't it? It's got the manual in there as well. But yeah, very nicely looked after. I've never played it. I think it sort of passed me by. I was trying to work out who was behind it, but actually it was the BBC Enterprises, licensed by the BBC, and would have cost you the grand sum of $9.99 back in the day. There you go. So I haven't got that one, so that's going nice in the connection. Nice bit of cardboard as well, I'd like to say that. And then the final game that was a part of this this generous gift is a Spectrum game. Now, I've spoken to a couple of people about this, and nobody seems to know much, other than the fact that this is a game which is meant to be in 2 parts. So it is Boot Camp, 19 Boot Camp. Because you may or may not remember, there was a very famous song in the mid-1980s called 19 by Paul Hardcastle, which was based around the Vietnam War. Basically, it was a dance track with loads of newsreel commentary taken out of it and used to tell the story of the Vietnam War. And it was number 1 for ages. Boy, I don't know, anyway. Seems very, very strange. So Cascade Games decided in their wisdom to release... they actually got the license because the music in this, and I believe Rob Hubbard did the music on the... He made the music on the 64. He's done did the music on the 64, which is a version of 19. The Spectrum 128K has also got a decent version of it as well. I'm not sure if it's going to count on the Amstrad. I'm not quite sure. But the idea was this was going to be parts 2. So part 1 was going to be Boot Camp, which is sort of a combat school series of sub games, mini games before, and there's like assault courses and rifle ranges and vehicle driving to do. And then part 2 was going to be actually based out in on the front line in Vietnam, but Cascade went out of business, so part 2 never actually happened. So there we go. 2 things slightly working against this one, which is a bit worrying. There we go. Try and work that out. There should be, or there should have been, a cassette version of the theme of the 19 soundtrack. Sadly, right, we may have had a slight cock up with that one, I don't know. I wasn't quite sure if I pressed stop or not. Anyway, we'll start again. There should have been a tape in there with the soundtrack on, which was meant to be the 12-inch remix, missing sadly. And also... what wasn't missing is the old poster, which is in there as well, which is quite nice. And it's got, Spectrum, Commodore 64, and then it was only coming out on the Amiga, but I don't think they've ever actually made it or not. So there we go. So that was it. Slight damage, but it's a nice box. Nice looking box, that one. And I've never seen this before, because I've spoken to a couple of people who sort of known Spectrumites that I've spoken to recently, and no one's ever heard of that game, or they have heard it, they've never actually seen a copy, or it's a bit, well, it's not mega rare, but nice to have it. So thrilled to have that in the collection. So thank you very much indeed, Mr. Oddball, for your generosity. They'll be well looked after, and I shall give them a go at some point in the future, as I always say, which I never actually do. So that's what came in. So that's that bit. In terms of what else is going on, I met one of my heroes, but somebody who I used to watch quite a bit when I first started, and was somebody who was one of the very early adopters of the Retro Bear channel. And that was Mr. Bads, because he got some stuff for Mrs. Bear to repair. And if you know where he lives, or if you don't know where he lives an incredibly long way away from where we are, and he actually drove all this stuff up. It wasn't the weekend just gone, it was the weekend before that. So I'm guessing where we just gone now, the 17th. It was the 10th of June, I think he came up. Drove up on the 10th of June. It was like a 12-hour day for him. He drove up here, spent a couple of hours here, and drove home again. 12 hours, literally. And it was great to meet Paul for the first time. Never met Paul before. And he stayed for about 2.5, 3 hours. We was talking games and gave him the tour of the pantry and the second games room. And hopefully when he comes back to pick some stuff up and drop some more off, I think he was saying, we'll try, and if it's all possible, bear in mind how far he's got to come, see if we can try and factor in a game hunt in the area as well, or go to some of the independent shops he's not been to before. So that would be fantastic if we could do that. It was just great to meet Paul. One of the few people now I've sort of got left on my list. I'd like to YouTube book of, I Spy book of YouTubers I'd like to tick off. But really, really nice guy, and he's bought Mrs. Bear some fantastic stuff to repair. Really has done. Unbelievable. But yeah, just drove all the way up the one Saturday, and then stayed for a few hours and drove home again. And it was a hot day. It was a really hot day as well. Must have poached himself that day. But yeah, so it was great to meet Paul finally in person. Really was good. Really enjoyed that, and hopefully we'll see him again sometime soon. But yeah, not a lot else going on. I mean, you know, we got the TMB. I think is going to go into sort of a summer holiday mode again, simply because everybody's got lives. Everyone's got their own lives to lead, and it's getting very difficult at the moment. You know, shift working people have their own families. People, you know, a couple of changes being made in home life and things like that. I mean, it's just difficult to get everybody together. It's unfair on to ask people to come on where we can't get a full tab. So I think, although we've not actually sort of officially discussed it, I think probably the best thing to do, when we've done it before, is just take a few weeks out and come back again when we're ready. So I know people enjoy sitting down every couple of Saturdays or Sundays to watch the streams and what have you. I may chuck a couple of different streams on or do something different while that's going on, but I'll see. Depends if I can think of anything in the meantime. TMB will be back. We've done it before. It's about second or third break we've done from it. So, but I think it's just a sensible thing to do at the moment. It's just too difficult to get people together. So, we're doing Fall Guys Super Saturdays again. We're doing, where are we now? I'm trying to remember dates, Mr. Bear. Dates: 1st of July, 15th of July, 29th of July, and the 12th of August. I think are the dates I'm doing. I'm not doing every Saturday. I'm doing every other Saturday. I've just done Saturday just gone, and I do it every couple of weeks. 8 till 10 on a Saturday night on my channel. I may do a couple extra ones when we get into July, towards the end of July, because I've got some time off work, so I might just squeeze an extra one in. But yeah, it's just a bit of fun. We do Fall Guys Friday as well on Big Game Al's channel. So I think we've got about a couple more of those before his shifts change as well. So again, it's just when we got availability. So everybody's welcome to come and join. It's just a bit of fun, a bit of a laugh. Nothing too serious. If you're good at Fall Guys, you probably waste your time coming on our stream because we're all rubbish. But if you're rubbish at Fall Guys, you never played it before, it's probably the ideal place to come on. It really is. So yeah, look out for that. I'll put a community post out before that happens. I've not been doing anything. I've not, the Birmingham game market, I think was the last time I went anywhere to look at any games about anything. I've not been in any game hunts or anything like that, so I've obviously been very, very invisible in the local area the last couple of 3 months or so, because I just haven't been going out anywhere. Been too busy with work, too hot because it's been really nice, but it's just been too warm. It's like again coming up here and trying to do a video in this heat. I mean, today's probably the first day I've actually sort of felt, you know what, I've not got home, had my tea, sat down for a bit, and I'm just sitting there feeling very hot and sweaty and can't be bothered to do anything. Well, it's not exactly cool in here. I suppose with the best, slightly moist at the moment. And it's 5 to 9, and it's still warm. I've got the curtains closed, the door shut. It's still warm in here. But yeah, the last thing you want to do after being, and I work all day in somewhere which has got so little air conditioning ways of keeping cool. Especially last week, Monday, Tuesday, the 12th and 13th of June, it was really, really hot. Me and my colleague, we were just sitting there melting. It was horrendous. Just literally just sitting there at a desk, just sweating. It was horrible. And then you come home in the evening, and the last thing you want to do is go and sit in exactly the same environment, doing exactly the same sort of things. That's why I ain't really done. I haven't got a lot to show people at the moment. I could sit down and do some game footage, but again, it means sitting in here in the hot, and it's just not the ideal thing to do. I probably game less during the summer than I do during the winter. Bear in mind, I've gamed stuff all so far this year, so I don't know. Anyway, that's what it is. I'm not complaining about that. There's something else I was going to say as well, which is probably not very important, but yeah, I don't know. It's just you look round and people, some people are putting videos out, some people aren't putting videos out. I know Eddie did a video the other day, Roller Call, where he was saying, it's about time to do a good old-fashioned pickups because people seem to stop doing them, and I've noticed that. There's very, very few pickups videos going up. Whether people have just stopped, or there isn't the stuff there to pick up like there used to be. I really don't know. I mean, I'd like to, start, going to the old, doing a few car boots, but one which is maybe 5 minutes up the road drive from here, they announced the week before the season started they weren't going to do any this year for some reason. I don't know why. The words unforeseen circumstances, so perhaps something serious, but I've never ever known it not to be on at all, ever. And this year they cancelled the entire season before it started. There was a big one which closed down about 2-3 years ago, which we used to go to quite a bit on the Sunday. So there's a couple local, but again, we sat here last couple of weeks or so, said, we'll go to that tomorrow. We never do. So I don't know. But yeah, it's just, there isn't an awful lot going on at the moment, which is strange, and the motivation to do it at mobile, not quite there, but you've got to keep appearances up, and people start to wonder if you're going to do any more videos ever. Sorry, I had to bring it back, didn't I? Yes, I am back. Well, I'm back sporadically. I've got a couple of things I could do, but again, it's just having that. Just that feeling of I can't be bothered to sit down and do it. I don't know. So anyway, that's where we are with that. Anyway, once again, thank you very much indeed to Archive Oddball for those fantastic donations, which are going to go into onto the shelves if they'll fit. Move something around possibly, or stretch the shelves to get that copy of Grand Prix in, and all those other great games as well. And thanks to everybody who's watched and commented and sort of kept the channel ticking over in terms of just being there and sticking with it and not deserting in droves because nothing's happened for a month or so. We'll try and get something up. We'll try and do something if I can. In the meantime, great to talk to you once again. Hope to see you here again soon. In the meantime, stay cool, stay safe, etc., etc. And we'll talk again soon, I'm sure. Take care. Bye-bye.